that tender. But they're reviving that, and this is what you say in your affidavit at at paragraph 76. I understand that this was the text message that was to be used to try and bring charges against me. I do not know why bringing charges against me was part of the project discussed by Minister Nkunu and Brown Mokgotsi with Mr. Matlala. Since I'm no longer involved in government, I suspect, however, that it may relate to my continued involvement in politics in KZN, which is relevant for the upcoming ANC election.
I affirm. That's my statement.
But isn't the real reason why they, if it is the case that they want to draw you, suck you into this by reviving 2010 stuff, that they wanted you to put pressure on General Khumalo and his ongoing investigations into, amongst others, Matlala, Molefe, Mokgotsi, this whole syndicate?
I said, don't go too far. I don't know Mokgotsi, I don't know Molefe. I know Matlala. So if you pull them together, I might get confused because I don't know. But
you know, you've met Matlala. And
yeah.
Yes, and he's telling you that.
But I don't know Molefe. Yeah. I've seen him getting the bail now and again. I've read that he has been arrested in London, but he still gets the bail after bail after bail. So, yes, and stories how he gets the bail, that somebody was paid for the bail and the police knew that he was going to pay so long he pays that person. So I don't know. I don't know Mokgotsi either. I only know that he comes from Mahikeng. This thing, it might be an issue, remains a suspicion to me, that is got to do with the processes of the African National Congress CAM conference. But a person who can affirm what's an issue is a person who wants me arrested using this 2012 and sending these things and promising Matlala that I'll be arrested soon. So that's a person that can explain. Yeah. Mine could be the suspicion that maybe the suspicion that I'm not supporting the cause of somebody becoming a president or deputy president. Maybe I'm supporting other people. That one is mine. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. They say you must disclose that you're under oath. Okay, let's just move on. But you meet Matlala again in March. On the 18th of March, you meet him at Zimbabwe Estate, also in Durban.
Indeed.
And then you go on to say at paragraph 77, initially believed we were meeting at his residence, but I later learned that Hlangwani Morgan Maumela owned the property. Mr. Maumela is currently the subject of an investigation by the Hawks and the SIU concerning the extraction of 2.3 billion from Tembisa Hospital.
Okay.
At the time you say of the visit to you were unaware that it was actually belonged to Mr. Maumela. I received numerous queries from a journalist, Jeff Wicks, concerning my relationship with Maumela. I can confirm that I do not have any relationship with Maumela.
I meet Matlala because now we're engaged on this presidential thing and me and all that, but talk other things. One thing that took me aback in the meeting of Zimbabwe is when I saw his protection guys. And I began to say that looks like there are faces I know here. What nearly made me fall down is when he told me that some of those guys, 23 of them, has recruited them from Special Task Force of the Army. I said to myself, what is this? He has taken 23 of the special task force of the army to guard him.
They're even recruiting some of our best, highly trained officers.
See, I'm giving you the story that scared me. Why I'm scared of this story is because I've spoken to Nhlanhla earlier on and gave me the information that we have lost 56 members of the Special Task Force of Police to the taxi industry. 56. Now, I'm told that to train one member of the Special Task Force is 1.1 million to be all-rounder. One. We have lost 56 to the taxi industry. Maybe there where I threaten you of knowing. But I've got two issues here. That I can't have such a production to the private security. That's the first fear. The second fear is that looks like we're increasing the capabilities of the private security versus the state. Because I don't care how many you send, there will be a serious battle between 56 guys in the tax industry with the 20 guys you send of the Special Task Force. So it's something that must be,
Yes, General?
It's something that must be corrected, Chair. Indeed, Masimula and me, we engaged the taxi guys in KZN to say, bring back our men. They say, we pay them better. We pay them better. Talk to them. I say, guys, can we go back home? They say, Minister, we love the page. National Commission, we love the page, but we don't eat the page. Maybe that's one thing that we'll have to see what we do with our people that have high capabilities so that we keep them in a proper way. Maybe that's one case that as legislators will deal with. So I go back, Commissioner and I will go back and we discuss to say, Commissioner, we have a leeway here of dealing with this 56. We had 3 meetings with them. The last meeting was in HR where we were preparing to bring them back. Not all of them that came back, but a big chunk came back. The leeway was that special task guys, both Army and police, they have a special allowance. The special allowance started same level, both of them, at 6,000 some years ago. Soldiers have moved to quite a high, I don't know whether to say the figure where they've moved. They've moved there as a special allowance. And the police have stayed there at the bottom. So we agreed with the National Commission that move them up where they are, which is more than 20,000 from 6,000. And then agreed, and they said, Minister, with pleasure, if you're taking care of us, we'll go back home. By the time I left, so they were being processed, quite several of them, they were going back to the police. Well, I heard Minister Mkhunu said he has fixed the matters of the special forces. No, that process started when Cele was there. But it was going to start with special forces, goes with the NIU and the CATS. CATS are not too many, and then goes to the TROT, that few that are still there. Now, with that process, SC, comes information that 23 of the Army now are in the payroll of a private guy called Matlala. Anyway, I began to see them at the funeral, Honorable Malema. I began to see them at the funeral where we were together. I said, I know these voices, but at that funeral, there were more guns and flowers.
Whose funeral is that?
That was Mswazi. The guy called Mswazi Mnisi, who was a taxi guy. So there were more guns and flowers. And I said to them, what is everyone you were hitting?
It's Guns N' Roses.
Maybe guns, but there were more guns. So because it was a big guy in the taxi industry, many of taxi guys, they came with helicopters in that funeral. They did not drive. Honorable Julius will remember there were many helicopters. I asked some of them, why did you use helicopters? They say no, because he was buried in his farm. You had to drive through the bush. So it was not any other thing, was to make sure that they go there. So you could see that this private security is taking the capabilities of the state. So somebody had to do something with it. And Matala is part of him increasing his own private capability. I don't know where that is arrested now. I don't know where those guys are that have left the special task force of the army. Remember, while they train similar, but when ships are really down, those are the guys that you bring in. And they're in the private hand.
Yeah, so General, what you describe is most disturbing, isn't it? It's high-level crime, sophisticated, even buying off or inducing some of our top police and army, specially trained officers, to actually employ them on their side. And obviously they're involved in what is clearly a criminal enterprise. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't have that evidence that they're involved in what is criminal.
For what purpose would they want these people to be surrounded by people that's heavily
they call
armed?
them their protectors, but it's not only them here, SC, that could be blamed. The state also must take some form of responsibility. You can't train those people. I usually call them human machines and don't take care of them. I blame them for going and all that. I don't know what are they taught to do in the private arm, but the state will have to look at them. You train me highly, you keep me highly. Simple and straightforward.
So just to continue, what I think, what emerges from...
Honorable Skosana. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted clarity from the witness. The Cat Matlala, you said you met him in Belleville Hills in December last year, if I remember well.
Correct.
And then you say at the funeral, if I hear you well, hence I'm looking for a clarity from you. There were a lot of guns than flowers. And was Matlala there?
No, I didn't see him.
So the security company, you don't know what security company was there?
There were many taxi guys. These guys are split. Those taxi, they just take. I think they pay them well. But they are not taken by one taxi boss. They're taken by many. So a person that, and I'm sure you know the person that was being buried there.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah, I'm sure you know him very well. I'm sure you know him very well. I'm sure you also know a person that is at war with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know him too. So that is buried. So all these guys, they come because I guess everybody that is in the taxi industry knew in that particular day who was buried. I was there in that funeral. The Honorable Malema was there. Honorable Fikile Mbalule was there. And 3 of us, we spoke at the funeral. all spoke at that funeral. So was a very high profile. I haven't checked, but I might suspect that Matlala could be there, but I don't have that information, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chair.
You may
So-
proceed, SC.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. So, Minister, you seem to suggest that it's understandable that some of these initially or former police officers, military officers, highly trained, at 1.2 million rand a shot that taxpayers spend on training them, that it's understandable that they cross the floor and go and work for these syndicates because they get more pay, and that, are you saying that we should, to stop this, we should pay our officers more? Is this one of the ways in which we can stop this criminal activity?
Not
And why do you, I think you also mentioned that that you went back to actually negotiate the return of some of these officers back, to integrate them back into the police force.
I would
Wasn't
not
that
agree with
a
you.
A huge risk.
I would not agree with you that they work for syndicates. Especially the police task force are recruited by the taxi industry. Those are not syndicates. There might be a lot of criminality there, but to call the taxi industry syndicates, having not have that information, will be a problem. There is one thing I know with the taxi industry, is a lot of death and a lot of guns on it. I said I was a provincial MEC for transport. I spend a lot of time dealing with them. So I would sit with you here, SC, have a meeting, and then I say tomorrow we'll come back and finish the meeting, and your chair will be empty. Next day, your chair will be empty because you are gone forever. So that's what happens with that industry. Anybody who understands that industry is a brutal. There is a question they ask there. If you want to buy taxis, do you have a stick to protect the job? That's a gun. So if you are going to be in the taxi industry, you must have a gun too. That's how it goes. So I would not then say taxi industry are syndicates, but I wouldn't say that those recruited by those that are associated with syndicates like Matlala are not abused and used for that. But I would not sit here and say taxi industry guys are syndicates.
May we take Honorable Malem?
Minister, you'll agree that there is a difference between personal protectors and inkabi. Because when a person is employed to look after you as a high profile or a taxi person, that person does exactly that. And there are people who are hired to kill people. And that is the purpose of hiring inkabi for that purpose. Am I correct?
You are correct, Honorable Member, but it does happen that the very same protectors are used sometimes as inkabi and come back to their job. But there is a pool of people that are there just calling their price. There is that group of people. So that's why, and there are people that genuinely protect their principals. They call them their principals, even in taxi industry and all that. And I would not call those people syndicates.
Thank you. Yeah, perhaps I shouldn't generalize, and I certainly don't or didn't intend to portray the whole of the taxi industry They are organized. We know here in Cape Town anyway, where I stay, there's two, Kutesa, and the two organizations. So they are organized. But obviously it would be irresponsible to say they're involved in organized crime. They are, however, involved in a fierce battle, but they do also a great public service transporting our people. But it was more in the context of this picture that this narrative that comes from your evidence, that you meet this high-powered guy in December, a guy, just knows about this raid with one of your top, when you were minister, one of your top policemen, General Kumalo, wants you to do a favor, and then you meet him. You've read this article about him, and clearly I think you had agreed it doesn't paint a nice picture about him, at the very least. Raises suspicions.
I would agree. That stands.
And then you go to a funeral, and then you go to Zimbabwe, and then you didn't know that this is another, well, according to the media anyway, notorious person's house. So Minister, you either you unwittingly, unknowingly are drawn into this web of dark criminality, or you go in there with your eyes open. Which one is it?
Let me again put some light on it. Funeral has got nothing to do with Ket Matlala. So I didn't go to the funeral because of Ket Matlala and all that. It was Mr. Mnisi, called Swazi, who died in hospital. So because I have worked with him in dealing with the problem of taxi industry. So as a person I know. So it's got nothing to do with Matlala at that particular time. Though I have learned SC and Honorable Malem, that his security has also looked after Mswas of Ket Matlala, which puts a clash between Matlala and Joe. I'm sure we know Joe. And Joe, it comes from there, and they all come from Mpumalanga. They all come from Mpumalanga. That's why he knows them. He knows them very well. And there would be issue, and there would be stories about them, and even the Honorable Skosana would know the stories. But we still meet them. But we know the stories. We know the story of Ucho Nsibanyon that everybody talks, but we still meet. And we still talk. But I want to go to Zimbabwe, because the article says I went to, who's the guy, Maumela, yeah. He says I went to the house of Maumela, and then Maumela gave me the code. I don't know why would you dramatize having a code of entering Zimbabwe, because in Zimbabwe you enter with code. Now, why should it come as a secret weapon that you had a code? Anybody who goes to Zimbabwe enters through the code of the owner there. And then I go there to talk, and then I'm in this beautiful house, the beach house.
It looks like you, since your retirement, you're living it up.
Not necessarily.
You're in a high-end Beverly Hills,
I saw it
Zimbabwe.
once. No, Zimbabwe, I've been there several times, not because of... I've gone there to see many people. Minister Nkosazana sometimes stay there. I used to go there. The king has stayed there. I've gone to... So it's nothing wonderful about seeing seen cat at Zimbabwe. I have been in Zimbabwe to see people. I've had conferences at Zimbabwe, one of the top hotels and all that. But the story I want to make, the journalist leaves the message to say, I went to see cat at Zimbabwe, which is not a secret. It's not a secret, it's got nothing to secret. And then he writes something to say the house was Maumela. I didn't know. The house, cat told me that he had 2 houses in Zimbabwe. So this is one of these houses. So I heard it from the journalist that the house was Maumela. But the journalist accuses me. He writes the message and he says, the journalist says to me, I don't want to talk to you. I still have those messages. I don't want to talk to me. Write down. I have told the journalist before that I don't write. The journalist is trapping me. He wants me to write. I told him that I don't write, but he says this time, I don't want to speak to you. I'll not write. I don't write. I phoned the journalist 10 times. I phoned the journalist 10 times. He's got 10 missed calls, which are dramatic with Matala, but he doesn't write that I phoned him 10 times, not finding him, the journalist. And the journalist goes to point 3, raised 3 points. Point 3 says, he is aware and the fact that I have benefited from who's this guy? I've benefited from Maumela. I've stayed in his house. I was in his house. I've been driven around. I don't know Maumela. I go back, after I came back from the 10 calls, I go back to say, why do you say I know Maumela? Said, I didn't know that you don't know, so I retract that. But he has written the story. He has written the story, the journalist. Okay. Maybe Mkhwanazi is correct on that one, and I concur with that journalist. They develop some kind of narratives that they want to be there. That journalist, he knows the journalist, what he has done. And ever since, he has not written the story, has not come back to me. But he didn't write the story. He sent an apology to me. The journalist sent an apology to me to say he made a mistake to say I know Maumela. He meant that I know Matala. And that journalist knows long time ago that I know Matala. Why would he make that? He believed that I'm not going to answer and was going to write the story of me moving around with Maumela, creating narratives.
Thanks, Chair. General, you don't write or you can't write. You are just unable to construct a paragraph. Both. Okay.
No. If you say I can't write, no, I can write, but I can't write the SMS message.
Okay, thanks.
Julius, Honorable Julius only knows that Massimula can't write the English. So it
looks like it's a general problem in the service. We need to look at it on how do we give support.
It's not a general problem, it's a problem of generals. Honorable Mali.
General, were you not a teacher at some point?
Yes, I used to teach.
So you are a teacher by profession?
Yes.
So you used to write?
At the blackboard.
At the,
Yeah.
at the chalkboard?
It was green that time. I used to write on the blackboard. So there were no gadgets during my teaching.
You can
time,
only write
but
with chalk, with a crayon.
Yeah, the chalk
on
and
the board.
the
Proceed,
dust and all
SC.
that. Yeah.
I have given you until 4. Yourself, until 4.
Uninterrupted.
Yeah, uninterrupted.
General, can we just